Hello and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jameson Rabbit, and joining me today is a man who once studied tap dancing under the tutelage of Tony Danza. His name is Mike Roth.
He was the boss. He pretty much knew what he was doing. I was offered to join him out in Vegas for his show, but luckily the city people.
And Mike, you're doing pretty good at the tap dancing thing. Why don't you come out to Vegas?
I was a young Danny Kaye.
Ooh.
Yeah.
He's on the boards. I like it. We're going to have you exhibit these talents one of these days. All these talents that we find on Wikipedia, one of these days, we're going to have a talent show. The desks are moving, a talent show is going to be performed.
We're not doing the brony
This is not the talent show, trust me.
No.
Oh, man. So this week we have a few movies to discuss. Let's take a look at what's on the marquee first. The first movie we have this week is a film that we are very excited to see and has been in a small release. Luckily, we were able to get it here, and that is Ex Machina. Ex Machina, the newest science fiction movie from director Alex Garland, starring Alicia Vikander, Domhnall Gleeson, and Oscar Isaac. It's basically a three-man movie. You have a little bit of interplay with a couple of other minor characters, but it is about an eccentric billionaire, played by Oscar Isaac. His name is Nathan, who is working on the next stage of artificial intelligence. And he recruits this young man who's a computer programmer, a brilliant young man named Caleb. Caleb comes in to help him. It's kind of be the test subject for him, I guess, the guinea pig to see, is the AI good? Can it trick you? Can it help me figure out if this is worth it or not? And the AI is, you see right there, a lady, quote unquote, named Ava. And Ava is the state-of-the-art, new prototype robotic artificial intelligence. And it is Caleb's job to see if there's any flaws in her. And through this, he starts to kind of fall for Ava, I guess. Kind of humanizes her. We find out the AI is pretty decent.
Oh, yeah.
And the girl that plays Ava is pretty phenomenal in that role. And we also find out that with most eccentric billionaires, the eccentricity of Mr. Nathan starts to come out, and things aren't always as they seem between them. And really, it's a quiet movie, which I like. There's a lot of just quiet dialogue between the dialogue between Nathan and Caleb as they talk about what's going on. Caleb, the nervousness of dealing with somebody who is a mentor to him.
But it's never boring.
No.
Even in its quiet moments, it's very intense. And it keeps you guessing throughout the whole movie. I didn't think this was cookie cutter at all, even though it's an AI movie.
And the twists weren't twists just for the sake of being a twist.
Exactly. They kept you kind of guessing what is going on.
Yeah.
There's only a few incidences where I was like, okay, I know that before you're telling me, but it was very rare. Yeah,
and for me, the star of the movie was the cinematography. The camera work in this movie was brilliant. The entire look and feel of the film being set entirely basically in this one house, this incredible futuristic house.
I believe it was Norway?
Or
Iceland.
So. Iceland?
Yeah, Iceland, because of the glacier.
Yeah. And that was really the star of it, as you're in this secluded, tight spots in times where everything would lock down and you would feel like you can't go anywhere. And just talk about the look of Ava, the seamless, the flawless look and design. And it wasn't too robotic. It felt natural.
It was very unique and cutting edge, which really surprised me. This is supposed to be a low budget film, but the CG that they did for Ava surpasses all these high-budget films like Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And yeah, I might be zeroing in on a certain director, but
no, but really, it felt like they really honed in their design of what they wanted her to be, because that was really the main effect of the movie.
Yeah.
Was Ava. The rest of it was going to be made or broken by these subtle, nuanced performances that they got out of the three actors. And that's really what drove the movie. You have a great look of Ava, because that's going to be the thing you look when we're dealing with artificial intelligence. We're in the same spot as Caleb. We're trying to pick it apart as the audience. And so it's got to be a flawless look, and it was. It was great. And the story and the humanity that she portrayed and the nuanced performances between her and Caleb and Nathan and vice versa, this triangle, were great. The dialogue felt believable.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I really enjoyed Oscar Isaac, especially played that bubbling below the surface kind of psychopath that he just played it perfectly. Like, you didn't know what was for real with him.
A lot of the quiet moments with him was just really creepy. You just see him, you know, for no reason. Yeah, I mean, everybody knows he's an alcoholic in the movie. They mention it over and over again, but the guy never sleeps. It's just crazy.
And he's obviously, I mean, he's driven, but he's also been secluded for a long time. He's paranoid, and he's got these weird delusions going on. And like you said earlier, there's twists that come through the movie, and the twists are great for the most part. Now, the only issue I had with this movie was the end of it. The very end of it left me kind of wishing that they hadn't have gone the route that they did in the final few minutes.
I was actually, I mean, of course, it's probably not what the audience wants, but if it was exactly what the audience want, I think then
The
it's
problem was,
predictable.
it was what I was expecting, and they went where I was expecting. I was hoping for something a little different. And I think that was my issue, was like, oh, don't go here, and they did. That kind of left me wanting. But it did nothing to really disparage thoughts on the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we both really enjoyed it. What did you
I gave it
ultimately
a
give it?
really strong 4.5, and I teetered on 5, but there was, like I said, slight issues. Probably shouldn't have made a difference, but you know, if afterwards I'm still thinking about, ooh, these slight issues, kind of held me back from giving it a top 5. So 4.5.
Yeah, I agree.
Strong.
I was also kind of waffling between a 4.5 and a 5, and ultimately, I think that what I said earlier about the end of it kind of just helped me decide. 4.5, a strong 4.5.
Oh yeah.
And a science fiction movie that I truly enjoy. Oh man, I am looking forward to watching this again.
It's been a while since, and because of the production company,
Yeah.
it will be out really soon.
And that's
hopefully.
the thing, is this movie, along with some other ones that we've discussed in the past, the production company A24, they really roll out slow and small. They roll out usually quality films, but they're quick to hit DVDs. They're quick to be in your red box and such. So if it does not come to your area, which it very well may not, or if you don't get it here, I mean, we got it on a special kind of screening. I highly recommend both of us to find it when it comes out in your red box or your local
I'm
on
pretty sure I'm
demand or
just gonna
such.
buy it when it comes
Right,
out.
I am. I mean, I really enjoyed it, and it gives me. I'm really enjoying Oscar Isaac. He's one of these buzzy young actors that everyone talks about, and he's getting all these roles. Like, oh, Oscar Isaac, he's what? And I tend to kind of put the brakes on. I enjoyed him in Inside Llewyn Davis, but when they start to roll that hot, that fast, I get that Sam Worthington vibe, and I'm like, no, let's not do that.
You made a mistake with the Bieber thing.
So I'm hoping,
I got wrapped up into it.
I'm really enjoying him. I'm watching his career, but so we recommend Ex Machina highly.
Oh, very much.
As for you, sir, you have a film that I was unable to get to. I tried and tried.
I went to see Little Boy. It's about a young boy. He's about 8 years old. His father goes off to World War II. This is located out in California where there's earthquakes and blah, blah, blah. And there's this huge national hatred, a racism towards the Japanese. Well, and they let you know this very much in the beginning of the movie. When the little boy's father goes off to war, he wants to do nothing more than to bring him back. So he tries magic. His father and him, they did these fantasy stuffs, and he was a big believer in magic. When magic didn't work, he moves to faith, because faith is, if God wills it, it will happen. And all you have to do is believe that it will happen. So he goes to his local preacher, and he gives him a list of things that you can do to prove your faith. And he goes through this list one by one, and one of them was to befriend an enemy. So he goes to a local Japanese man that his brother tried vandalizing his house and got thrown in jail, and he decided he was going to befriend this Japanese man. This movie, actually, the story is fantastic. I enjoyed the story of it.
It sounds interesting.
I thought it had some real potential, but it was held back by a bad screenplay, not great acting, almost horrible acting, and the direction was actually, I thought, was way off. I know that the history of this time, there was a lot of people who are extremely prejudiced of the Germans and the Japanese.
We had camps for them.
We had camps for them, and that is not a proud moment of American history. That's a blight. And this movie could have pushed itself in excellence if they concentrated a little bit on how this was not a great time in Americans' culture, being so prejudiced and hatefully racist, and how this little boy overcame that. In a way it did, but it showed all this terrible images of racism, such as cartoon caricatures of Japanese people, and the hate that the entire town had. That
was wholly
for
accepted
Japanese.
back then, though.
It was, but it's not
Certain
now.
actors made a career out of that.
I'm pretty sure if the direction kind of highlighted this as, that was not a good thing. Instead, I felt like it highlighted it as whimsy and nostalgic. Like, can't we just get back to those old days of extreme prejudice?
So,
and I really threw me off.
In a movie titled Little Boy, how was Little Boy? How was the acting from the little boy?
The acting was terrible. There was actually a point in the movie where you forget about the racism a little bit, and then the bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, and the whole town loved this little boy.
Spoiler
because
alert, we dropped the bomb.
It's not even a spoiler alert, but the bomb that was dropped was called Little Boy, and everybody just loved the little boy because he did this, and through God's miracle, totally annihilated an entire city with a nuclear bomb.
You say bad acting, but I saw in the trailer 2 people from Paul Blart Mall Cop 2.
Including Paul Blart.
How could it be a bad... How could it be poorly acted? That movie was great.
Tell you what, Paul Blart actually did better in this. That wasn't really that great.
That's faint praise. But
yeah, that's...
So what did you give the little boy, sir?
I gave Little Boy a 1.5. I think if you got a different director in there and maybe a different producer that wanted to take this story and turn it into something great, it could have been a great movie. It had a lot of fantasy elements. It had 2 different plots going on, but the racism stuff actually brought the score down a lot. Once you offend someone, it's kind of hard to really enjoy the movie.
No good. Well, the next movie we have on the marquee this week is The Age of Adaline.
Yes.
The Age of Adaline, the newest movie from director Lee Tollin-Krieger and starring Blake Lively. It tells the story of Adaline, who is played by Blake Lively, is a lady back in the 1930s who gets into an accident, goes into a lake, car goes into a lake, she gets hypothermia, dies. The lake is then hit by lightning in this storm that she is in, the snowstorm, freak snowstorm that she's in, hit by lightning, reanimating her, bringing her back to life, and stopping her ability to age. She is now frozen at this age and timeless. A timeless beauty, they say.
Does she sparkle in the sun?
Not so much.
Oh, okay.
And Blake Lively then goes through life on the run because at this time she is afraid that authorities are going to use her to experiment on her to find out why is this lady not aging. She has a young daughter who she has to leave behind, and she goes on the run, changing her identity, changing her location every 10 years because she will stand out over a long term if she has a relationship with somebody. Eventually, hey, you're not aging. And so I have to go places every 10 years where people don't know me, start over with everything new. She ultimately falls in love with a young man played by Michael Huisman, who just will not, he doggedly chases after her, will not let her say no. She tries everything to put her defenses up. He's not having it. Eventually kind of breaks her will, gets him to come back and meet his family. Her father, you saw, played by Harrison Ford.
And he did a great job.
He was Harrison Ford.
Oh, yeah.
Finally, he was Harrison Ford, and not just a guy who looked like Harrison Ford kind of being there. He was actually doing work.
I was excited to see him.
And Harrison Ford, as his dad, recognizes her. And we find out that there's a history. We also have her daughter, who does not have this affliction, who passes her in age, and throughout most of the movie is played by the great actress Ellen Burstyn.
And I thought she did a fantastic
she was great.
job,
And
too.
it was great moments with her. Here, she's her daughter. She's in her 80s. Mom is 30 years old, and there's really great moments where you have that reversal where she still is the kid, but visually you see it, you're like, oh, it would be the other way around, and it's a great time with those two.
I really enjoyed pretty much the main story is, like you said, is the romance. But the Harrison Ford part and the relationship she has with her daughter, I feel like actually made the movie more the romance. It really was cool.
I mean, this movie could have been really cookie cutter. I don't think it was breaking any new ground, really. I mean,
no, it's a Marvel movie, pretty much. Every single Marvel movie is like this.
But I think it could have been really bad. And it was, I think Blake Lively was better than I was expecting. She had affected an accent in some portions of the movie that would come and go. Like sometimes she would talk real old-timey, hey, and then sometimes it would go away. Harrison Ford, like you say, he shows up on screen.
Fantastic.
I love Harrison Ford, but Harrison Ford, over the last decade or so, when he shows up in movies, sometimes he's really sleepwalking through movies. This time he didn't.
No.
This time he brought it, and it was great. Even the young man who they got to play a young Harrison Ford.
That was a little creepy, I thought.
Through a little bit of Vaseline on the lens and certain angles, he pulled off a convincing young Harrison Ford to me.
Yeah.
You know,
they used Harrison Ford's voice.
Considering
too.
we know what young Harrison Ford looks like, you know. And I enjoyed those. The romance between her and the guy was okay, you know, and her trepidation at being found out and
well, you know how I mentioned it was like a Marvel movie? This essentially is like every superhero movie. She gets her powers by some weird way that science really doesn't explain, and she goes in hiding because if they know who you are, they're going to hurt you.
And that's the thing is that, okay, she's still on the run every 10 years. Here's decades later. She's still on the run. The one thing that kind of at the beginning of the movie I kind of enjoyed, but as the movie went along, really started to grate on me, is there's a narrator throughout the movie. And through the beginning, he tells you this entire backstory, goes through this whole hokey science of what I basically explained, of what happened to her, only much longer exposition, telling what happened to her, blah, blah, and would show up throughout the movie, kind of transitioning you from decade to decade, blah, 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 and played a huge part in the ultimate finale of the movie, too, the narrator. I think the narrator was interesting in the beginning to kind of give you the exposition, explain the science behind how she is,
They could have done
Adaline.
without that, but
But I think the narrator ultimately kind of backfired throughout the rest of the movie. I thought it kind of distracted from the movie. Could have done without that. And my other issue is the end of the movie. And I don't want to get into a spoiler. But again, I'm going, please don't do this. Please just
they did.
End it here. End it right here and not the next 10 minutes, which just kind of made it into the Hallmark movie.
And it's too bad that way too movies do that. They keep on going when you're like, no, stop it right here.
Stop it here. Leave a little bit for me to think about and go, oh, I hope it went this way.
There's only one time that I could remember where I enjoyed the extra spot where you should have stopped it. And that was a year ago when I saw How to Train Your Dragon 2, where it just was two great movies put to,
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Age of Adaline. I'm pleasantly surprised by it because I went into it, hoping for the best but expecting the worst. Because I don't think the trailer was really excellent. I think that we said that I think in our coming soons a couple weeks ago, is that we hoped that it was better than the trailer because the trailer was kind of.
The trailer was disappointing. I really would have liked to have seen more of the Harrison Ford and the relationship with the daughter and less of the main romance. But even then, I still really enjoyed the movie.
Yeah. I think you and I actually gave it both the same score.
Yeah, and it's It's a 3.
Yeah.
It could have gone a little higher, but again, it needed to give me something else in order to push it a little higher.
I was actually hedging towards a 3.5 until the end, and kind of left me with a little bad taste in my mouth.
I predicted it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I don't want, you know? Like, let's cut it here, leave a little for the audience to think, you know, maybe use their imagination. You don't have to show me everything ad nauseum. But I was surprised. It's an above average movie. It was a fun story.
Yeah.
Like you say, there was great acting and good character work.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful, man. Harrison Ford he's on the right track again. He's
Well, I
rolling.
can't wait to see his movie
I
coming
hear
out.
he's got
this
another
December.
movie coming out.
Yeah.
With Oscar
As
Isaac.
long as he can stay out of those airplanes.
Oh, man. We're home. So those are the movies that were on the marquee this week. And talking about Age of Adaline made us think about another movie. A little bit similar. Kind of ties in a couple of these movies a little bit. And this is a movie that came out in 1992. Mel Gibson plays a fighter pilot in 1939. He's a test pilot. Big fly boy.
Yep.
His wife, his girlfriend, who he is too scared to propose to, very scared to propose to her, she gets into an accident. She's hit by a car. He assumes she's dead. He's not sure. His best friend is George Wendt. George Wendt is a scientist for the Army who is working on cryogenics. And Mel Gibson I can't wait to find out if she's going to live or die. I can't wait a year. Doc, put me under, freeze me. If she lives, wake me up. We flash forward to 1992. This is 1939. Flash forward to 1992. He is woken up in modern day by Frodo Baggins.
Yep.
And the movie
was freaky.
The movie is Forever Young. I don't even think I said the name of it, but yes, the young Frodo Baggins, Elijah Wood, and his friend find this frozen body in a warehouse because the cryogenics program, was shut down not long after he was frozen, and they lost him. I picture a scene like Raiders of the Lost Ark where there's just a guy pushing this crate with a frozen frozen airman in
Ominous
it,
music in
and
the
he just puts
background.
it in the corner of a warehouse somewhere. And it is Mel Gibson waking up. He befriends Elijah Wood and his little buddy there, and kind of develops a bit of a relationship with Jamie Lee Curtis, who's Elijah Wood's mom in the movie.
You know what this kind of reminded me of as I was watching it?
What's
This
that?
was the first time I saw it. It kind of reminded me of Encino Man, which came out around the same time.
Okay, roughly.
Wheezing the juice.
But, you know, and Mel Gibson kind of initially like, oh, what's going on in this futuristic world? But he got past that pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
He really
Yeah, he
did.
did.
He was like, oh, look at this. Anyways, and he kind of deals with finding out what's going on. There's the government agency who's after him now. They find out, oh, there's a frozen guy. Let's find him. Jamie Lee Curtis is dealing with her issues. Rewatching this movie reminded me how much I loved 1992 Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson
I think Mel Gibson
I love Mel Gibson.
okay, but I was curious why I didn't see this movie when it came out. When it came out in '92, I think it was already dated. This felt so much like a mid-'80s movie.
It did.
But yeah, it was all right.
It's not breaking any huge ground.
No, it's not.
But once again, a man he might live forever.
Yeah.
He might.
Yeah.
Or he might not. Look, spoiler alert, this movie's a throwback. The aging of him at the end. There's a time when suddenly he begins to age.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the aging makeup, the subtle aging makeup that they would do, much more than some movies nowadays
I
have
was
done, where
thinking
they just
about-
plaster it on.
I was thinking about the Jersey Boys and how
Yeah, right?
horrible that was done, and how I was thankful that
Yeah.
they just decided we're going to put in some wrinkle lines and we're going to make his hair white.
I was kind of
and we're
impressed
going to
with
hitch
it.
his pants up a little
right.
higher.
Yeah, I was like, that's actually better than movies I've seen in 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. But that is Forever Young, a throwback, a man, a soldier, much like a little boy who might live forever, like Age of Adaline. But you can find it out on DVD and such. Go check it out.
Yeah,
It's not the greatest movie ever.
No.
But it was that
Or
time
you could see one of these
or
movies.
Encino Man, as Mike says. Why
Encino
not?
Man.
I might have to watch that again. But
That's a great movie. That's a classic. How
it?
can anybody get tired of that?
all right.
Pauly Shore. You still listen to a CD,
Oh,
right?
all the time, right? It's the best. So let's take a look ahead at the weekend of May 8th, oh, I almost said March, but it is May. May 8th coming up. We have 2 movies that will be coming soon. The first one is Hot Pursuit. What do you think about Hot Pursuit? Hot Pursuit starring Sofia Vergara, and Reese Witherspoon. Reese Witherspoon playing a cop who is dragging Sofia Vergara to somewhere. It's not really explained.
Well, she captures her because she's
a fugitive.
Fugitive for some reason, and I'm assuming something goes along where
Now
the
they're
cop
both on
that
the
caught
run.
her is now,
She's tied up in the mess. Now they're on the run.
and I'm pretty sure at the end she's innocent.
Whoa!
I've never seen it. I can't spoil it if I've never seen it.
Maybe Reese is a dirty cop all along. You think about that? Maybe she's in on it.
I don't think so.
So it is. It feels like some other movies we've seen recently.
Yeah.
But it looks, Sofia Vergara. It's got a big cast of comedians and such.
I don't think anybody wants to bring out their full guns against Avengers. It will be Avengers second weekend.
Week, which is going to still make like $500 million.
Yeah, and I remember seeing the trailer for this movie last
While
summer.
back, yeah,
so
while back.
I have a feeling they shelved it, and then they're like, okay, we can't have Avengers be like totally in no opposition.
Right.
We're gonna throw something out.
So Hot Pursuit will be your comedy road trip movie. The other movie coming out that weekend will be The D Train.
Yeah.
Starring Jack Black as a guy who is he's trying to plan a class reunion.
Yeah.
Right? It feels this trailer feels at home to me because he's trying to set up the 20-year reunion. My 20-year class reunion is coming up in a couple of months.
Really?
So it feels like, I get where you're at. He discovers he's having some trouble. Getting the reunion going because people don't really care, and he isn't the guy that really inspires anyone.
Are you that guy?
I am that guy. I'm that guy that doesn't inspire anybody. I'm sorry. But no, he finds out that one of his classmates is James Marsden, and he is on an Ocean Spray commercial or some tanning commercial.
Yep.
And he's like, I got to be best friends with him and get him to come, and then everyone will come to the reunion. Classic premise, right? Why not? And hilarity ensues, from what I understand.
And everybody will go to the class reunion because he's in a
Because
commercial.
dude on the banana boat commercial.
Do you know anybody on TV for your show?
No. People on TV are mostly jerks anyways.
That's what
I've heard. But those are the 2 movies, Hot Pursuit and D Train. Those are the 2 movies that will be coming out the week of May 8th. Next week, I mean, really, there's just the one.
I think there's Avengers. I think comes
If you
out.
go to a movie theater, the only thing showing is Avengers: Age of Ultron, and I'm excited to watch it, to discuss it. Hope it doesn't suck.
I hope I could get into it. I did not buy
I hope you can too,
my
Michael.
tickets.
I'm sure you can. Just show up. Don't you know who I am?
That's
Use
what-
that line.
Yeah.
Don't you know who I am?
I
I'm
am-
Real Reviews.
I am
Michael.
VIP.
I know how to tap dance.
I will show them my T-shirt.
So if you want to get a hold of us or anything like that, you can find us at Facebook, at Real Reviews TV on Facebook. Also on Twitter. Get a hold of us on Twitter at Real Reviews TV. You can find us on, you can go to YouTube.
You could go to YouTube.
Check out Real Reviews TV, KSUN, right? K-Sun. You can also find past episodes of this glorious show at ksun.tv. Go to K-Sun, check out all the other shows they have, but more importantly, watch all of ours because they're all brilliant.
Yeah, they're
every
great.
one of them.
In case you're wondering, because a lot of our old shows, you're seeing stuff on the Blu-ray now. So
Sure, exactly. Yeah, you
And
want to find
then
out?
some.
You want to find out what we really thought of Jersey Boys? You can find out if you look.
Exactly.
It's all right there, but feel free to do that. Also, we would like to thank our sponsor, Marcus Theaters. Of course, Marcus Theaters here in beautiful Sun Prairie is opening the new Palace Cinemas this week with the opening of Avengers 2, and we are quite excited to check that out, no doubt.
Already sold out on Thursday for.
Avengers is going to be kind of big. That's what I've heard.
That's what I've heard.
Word on the street is people are going to see the movie.
Have you seen the first one?
Not yet. I don't watch that many movies.
All right, now.
Not so much.
I'm just waiting for Lost Boy 2.
Yeah.
Or
So until next week when we talk about a superhero team up, my name is Jameson.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.